I got sent home early yesterday. I got sent home early today by the same person. I'm telling you, she's funny. She needs to understand that just because she's a mother and got children doesn't mean that she can come in this store, disrespecting people, talking to them like everybody's beneath her. She has no respect. And it isn't funny at all. Like, seriously, man, I get care of. And she keeps sending me home early. It's not funny. She's playing games. And then all day, throughout the day, she keeps sending her. And then throughout the day, she keeps on, like, putting negative energy in the air, talking about people, gossiping about people. It's not funny, man. That's I'm telling you. She's She brings a lot of negative energy in there. She always panic when there's a lot going on, and then she try to manipulate that and make it seem like we ain't doing something right, but we are working really hard and doing great. It's just the fact that she panicked, and I caught her a few times making a mistake, and she tried to hurry up and play it off. Nobody's perfect. It happens. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes, like, somebody might get confused. It's busy, yeah. But she needs to stop playing like she making mistakes. I be catching her.
With an update to a breaking story we have been following the last few hours out of Eastpointe, where police say an employee stabbing her own manager to death. This all happening inside a McDonald's on 9 Mile.
My mama is gone. It's not fair. It's not fair. That the lady and everything, I don't understand why she had to kill her.
It's just before 8 a.m. on July 10, 2025, in Eastpointe, Michigan, a quiet suburb on the outskirts of Detroit. Inside the McDonald's on 9 Mile Road, the early morning rhythm is in full swing. Customers move in and out, sipping hot coffee and grabbing breakfast. The scent of fried hash browns and brewed coffee fills the air, mingling with the steady hum of kitchen sounds. Employees are focused behind the counter, preparing orders while the drive-through line winds around the building. On the surface, it's a regular weekday morning at a fast food joint. But within minutes, this ordinary scene will be shattered by an act of unimaginable violence. Jennifer Harris, 39, a devoted single mom of 6 children, is the shift manager on duty. Known affectionately as Jamima to friends, family, and coworkers, Jennifer is a familiar face at the 9 Mile Road McDonald's, where she spent the last 15 years working her way up. She's respected for her no-nonsense approach, yet known for her compassion and commitment to her team. But this morning, a long-simmering workplace conflict is about to explode. A 26-year-old employee named Afeni Muhammad, who was earlier dismissed from her shift following an argument, will soon return, this time armed with a kitchen knife and wearing a face covering. What unfolds next is pure chaos. One witness, still shaken, told Fox 2 Detroit, "She started stabbing her, and I ran for help. She stabbed her everywhere." As gunfire is heard, fired by a courageous customer trying to intervene, the entire restaurant is thrown into panic. Sirens echo in the distance, and the community is left stunned.
She left for 5 minutes. She came back with a mask on her face. And the only thing I seen was her hands. That's how I knew it was her. And she started stabbing her, and I ran for help and basically asking everybody, like, help or whatever. I tried to stop her. It was no stopping her. She stabbed her everywhere.
The question looms large. What possessed Afeni Muhammad to carry out such a savage attack? Was it spur-of-the-moment rage, personal vengeance, or something even deeper? Welcome to True Crimes Venue. In today's episode, we examine the harrowing murder of Jennifer Harris, a story that cuts through the fabric of workplace tension and raises troubling questions about emotional breakdowns and unchecked aggression. The Eastpointe McDonald's tragedy is more than just another violent headline. It underscores how fragile our sense of normalcy truly is. Fast food restaurants are often considered safe communal spaces. But this case breaks that illusion. Its narrative of a loving mother, a disturbed employee, and a community left trying to make sense of it all. As we reconstruct what happened, we'll investigate the timeline, the motivations, and the aftermath, not just to learn the facts, but to understand the human weight behind them. Jennifer Harris wasn't simply a shift manager. She was a woman defined by resilience, devotion, and self-sacrifice. At 39, she was raising 6 children on her own, led by her eldest, Antonia. Jennifer had deep roots in Mount Clemens, Michigan, and was known for her hard-working spirit that echoed the values of the working-class communities surrounding Detroit. Her life was centered on one thing: her children. Her daughter Antonia said through tears, "My mama died trying to take care of us." Jennifer was more than a parent. She was a provider, a protector, and a fighter. Despite the pressure of raising a large family alone, she never backed down from a hard day's work. She rose through the McDonald's ranks from crew member to manager, gaining not just promotions but admiration from colleagues and customers alike. "She was so good to everybody," Antonia added. "A hard-working woman." Her coworker, Kelly McAlpine, echoed that sentiment in an interview with CBS News. "I'm shocked. I couldn't believe it. I was devastated. Never would have thought something like this was going to happen there."
Shocked. I couldn't believe it. I was devastated. Never would have thought something like this was going to happen there.
Jennifer's character stood out. In a place known for its fast pace and routine, she brought consistency and warmth. Regulars knew her not just for her efficient service but for her approachable demeanor and genuine care. She worked long shifts starting before sunrise, always putting her family first. Jennifer had even shown kindness to Afeni Muhammad, the woman now accused of taking her life. "We met the lady and everything," Antonia recalled. "I don't understand why she had to kill her." Eastpointe, a town of around 34,000, is tightly knit. Restaurants like McDonald's often serve as neighborhood staples, places where friendships form, families gather, and daily routines unfold. Jennifer was part of that fabric. Her presence wasn't just professional, it was personal. She remembered names, birthdays, and favorite meals. Franchise owner Youssef Al-Qadra described her as a dedicated employee whose passing sent shockwaves through the team. "We are deeply saddened by this tragic incident," he said. "Our hearts go out to the victim's family and loved ones." Despite her strength, Jennifer's life wasn't without challenges. Supporting 6 kids in a modest suburb came with more than its share of financial and emotional stress. Yet, she carried the burden with determination. Her children saw her as their everything, their hero. "My mama was a good person," Antonia told WXYZ. "She was the best mom anybody could ever ask for." The loss is unbearable, not just because of the brutal way Jennifer died, but because of the bright light that was extinguished. Her humanity, her loyalty, and her endless love are what make this story so heartbreaking. Her children are now left to navigate life without the woman who gave them everything. The entire Eastpointe community, too, feels the weight of the tragedy. Jennifer Harris symbolized the spirit of the town, hardworking, warm-hearted, and devoted. The morning of July 10th began like any other day at the McDonald's located at 9 Mile Road and Schroeder Avenue. The breakfast crowd buzzed with activity. Cash registers beeped, orders flew through the drive-thru, and employees moved swiftly to keep up with demand. Jennifer, as usual, was at the helm, coordinating tasks and ensuring operations ran smoothly. One of the employees on shift that morning was 26-year-old Afeni Muhammad, who was also known online as Risen Phoenix. At some point, tension between Jennifer and Afeni came to a head. According to police records, the two exchanged heated words. Though the full content of their exchange remains undisclosed, it was serious enough for Jennifer to send Afeni home early. Prosecuting attorney Henvevelt later stated that Jennifer's decision was tied to concerns about Afeni's work performance. As she left, Afeni reportedly muttered a chilling phrase, "I'll be back." Afeni didn't head home. Investigators say she went to a nearby park, possibly to collect her thoughts, or to plan something far worse. Exactly what she did in that short window remains unclear. But what happened next is undisputed. At approximately 7:50 a.m., she returned to the restaurant. Eyewitnesses noted that she was wearing a face mask, an ominous sign that this attack may have been premeditated. In her hand, she carried a kitchen knife. With swift, deliberate steps, she approached Jennifer. Then, in front of coworkers and customers, Afeni began stabbing her. It was frenzied and merciless. According to prosecutors, Jennifer was stabbed around 15 times, with multiple wounds to her face and body. The scene was chaotic. Customers screamed, employees froze, and the air filled with panic. A witness in the drive-thru who spoke to Fox 2 Detroit described the horror. "She started stabbing her, and I ran for help. She stabbed her everywhere." Jennifer, defenseless, collapsed under the onslaught, her blood staining the floor of the place where she'd worked for 15 years. Amid the chaos, a customer in the drive-thru, a licensed concealed pistol holder, witnessed the attack. Acting on instinct, he drew his firearm and fired a single warning shot into the air. The gunshot echoed through the restaurant, momentarily halting Afeni's attack. As she attempted to flee, the customer detained her at gunpoint, holding her until Eastpointe police arrived. No one was struck by the bullet, but the intervention was pivotal in stopping the assault and preventing Afeni from escaping. Police arrived at 8:02 a.m., responding to reports of a stabbing and gunfire. They found Jennifer suffering from multiple stab wounds, barely clinging to life. Officers arrested Afeni Muhammad at the scene, and paramedics rushed Jennifer to a local hospital. Tragically, she succumbed to her injuries shortly after. The McDonald's, once a bustling hub, was now a crime scene, cordoned off with yellow tape as stunned employees and customers waited in the parking lot. By 8:30 a.m., the Eastpointe Police Department had secured the scene and begun their investigation. Lieutenant Alex Holish, speaking to the Macomb Daily, expressed disbelief at the escalation. "For a verbal dispute to turn into this is ridiculous. People have to learn how to resolve their disputes." The community was reeling, and news of the tragedy spread quickly, leaving Eastpointe in shock. Afeni Muhammad, 26, was an Eastpointe resident and McDonald's employee who worked under Jennifer Harris's supervision. Known online as Risen Phoenix, Afeni was active on social media, particularly Instagram, where she posted about her life and frustrations. In the days leading up to the stabbing, she shared videos that now seem chillingly prophetic. In one post, she ranted about being sent home early from work, alleging mistreatment and bullying by her manager. "Not again," she captioned a video, followed by laughter, a detail that sent shivers through those who saw it after the crime. Afeni's social media presence painted a picture of a young woman grappling with personal struggles. She claimed Jennifer had disrespected her, even alleging that Jennifer had once pulled a firearm near her children, though no evidence has substantiated this claim. These posts suggest growing resentment toward Jennifer. The motive behind Jennifer's murder appears rooted in workplace tension. According to police and prosecutors, the July 10th argument was not an isolated incident. Afeni had been sent home early at least twice before, which she perceived as unfair and humiliating. Her Instagram videos reveal a sense of grievance, with complaints about being bullied and sent home for nothing. The prosecution alleges that Afeni's anger festered after being dismissed that morning, leading her to return with a knife and a mask, a clear sign of intent. But was there more to the story? Some online speculation has pointed to personal conflicts between Afeni and Jennifer, though no concrete evidence supports this. Jennifer's daughter, Antonia, insisted that her mother was kind to Afeni, suggesting no deep-seated animosity on Jennifer's part. Could Afeni's perception of mistreatment have been magnified by personal struggles or mental health issues? Without access to her psychological history, this remains a question mark, but her social media activity hints at a volatile emotional state. Initial reactions to the crime prompted widespread speculation about whether underlying issues might have triggered the incident. Online chatter hinted at a deeper conflict, perhaps rooted in personal grievances beyond the confines of the restaurant. Despite these claims, investigators have not uncovered any history between Afeni and Jennifer aside from their work-related interactions. Another circulating theory suggested that Afeni could have been influenced by outside stressors, such as financial hardship or emotional turmoil, though none of this has been substantiated. Prosecutors are presenting a clear-cut argument. Afeni's act stemmed from anger and was premeditated, particularly in response to being dismissed from work. Her decision to don a mask and bring a knife to the scene significantly reinforces their theory. On the other side, the defense, appointed through the Michigan Indigent Defense Commission, may attempt to build a case centered on emotional instability or provocation. As of July 11, 2025, they have not issued an official statement. However, Afeni's social media presence paints a picture of growing resentment. Her self-styled persona, Risen Phoenix, hints at a desire to reclaim control or reinvent herself, potentially disguising internal emotional volatility. One of the clearest indicators of her state of mind lies in the videos she recorded shortly before the stabbing, where she vented about her job and expressed frustration. The infamous phrase, "I'll be back," now reads as a grim signal of intent, one that tragically went unnoticed. Perhaps the most disturbing element of this case is what investigators found on Afeni Muhammad's Instagram page. In the days leading up to the fatal attack, she had uploaded multiple clips ranting about being repeatedly sent home from work. One such video featured her laughing as she captioned it with the words, "Not again," which now carries an eerie weight in light of subsequent events. These posts have since been widely circulated, drawing both alarm and condemnation. For the prosecution, they represent compelling evidence of forethought and a deteriorating mental state. The footage has not only stirred the public but also bolstered claims that the attack was far from spontaneous. On July 11, 2025, Afeni appeared via video conference from the Macomb County Jail before the 38th District Court in Eastpointe. The charges against her include first-degree murder, unlawful possession of a weapon with intent, and habitual offender, second notice, status. In light of the serious allegations and perceived flight risk, her bond was set at a staggering $25 million. A probable cause hearing is slated for July 23rd, with a preliminary examination scheduled for July 30th. Prosecutor Cyan Henry laid out a chilling sequence of events. Afeni reportedly left McDonald's following a dispute with Jennifer, went to a nearby park, and later returned armed with a knife and wearing a mask. She then allegedly stabbed Jennifer 15 times. This timeline strongly supports the narrative of premeditation, complicating any future efforts by the defense to argue for diminished responsibility or emotional duress. While no formal defense argument has been presented yet, their focus may involve exploring the emotional context or workplace dynamics that may have played a role in Afeni's state of mind. The entire Eastpointe area remains stunned by Jennifer Harris's tragic death. Social media, particularly X, was flooded with heartfelt posts ranging from expressions of sorrow to calls for justice. Many users praised the customer who intervened during the attack and scrutinized Afeni's online rants. Local news outlets, including Fox 2 Detroit, WXYZ, and the Macomb Daily, have covered the case extensively, spotlighting Jennifer's long-standing role as a dedicated McDonald's manager and the senseless nature of her murder. Beyond the case itself, larger discussions have emerged around workplace conflict and employee mental health. Lieutenant Alex Holish's comment to the Macomb Daily, that people must learn to manage disputes, struck a chord with the public. Although a few online voices suggested Afeni may have felt bullied at work, the prevailing sentiment has been one of outrage, with most demanding full accountability for Jennifer's death. As the investigation continues, the Eastpointe Police Department is still collecting statements from witnesses and reviewing security camera footage from the McDonald's. Authorities have encouraged anyone with relevant information to contact their detective bureau at 586-445-9415. Forensics teams are examining the knife and additional physical evidence to determine more about the brutality of the assault. Officials are also combing through Afeni's social media history in search of more clues regarding her psychological state and potential motives. As of July 12, 2025, Afeni Muhammad remains incarcerated at Macomb County Jail. She awaits her upcoming hearing, facing the weight of a first-degree murder charge, a charge that could carry life imprisonment without parole. The court's imposition of a $25 million bond ensures she will not be released while legal proceedings are underway. The McDonald's location where the tragedy occurred, owned by Youssef Al-Qadra, has temporarily closed its doors. The usually busy parking lot now stands quiet, serving as a grim marker of the violence that unfolded. As the legal journey begins, the mounting evidence against Afeni, including her social media behavior and the deliberate preparation for the attack, paints a powerful picture of intent. Still, her legal team may attempt to introduce mitigating circumstances such as workplace stress or psychological distress to argue for a lesser offense. The coming weeks will be pivotal as prosecutors lay out their argument and the community follows the developments closely. Jennifer Harris, affectionately known as Jamama, was far more than a news headline. She was a hardworking mother of 6 who had dedicated 15 years of her life to her job, often putting others before herself. Her daughter Antonia's tribute, "My mom was the best mom anybody could ever ask for," encapsulates the love and admiration Jennifer inspired. Now, her family must navigate life without her. The Eastpointe community has been deeply affected, holding vigils and sharing memories that honor her legacy. Her story underscores the unpredictability of life and the necessity for kindness in everyday interactions. In her memory, the community continues to rally for justice and support for those she left behind. The Eastpointe McDonald's case has sparked widespread reflection on workplace safety, employee well-being, and how quickly tensions can turn into tragedy. It makes us ask, how can we better prevent such incidents? What steps should employers take to spot early signs of conflict or mental distress? And how do we support the families affected by such losses? We invite you to join this conversation. Have you ever seen conflict at work that got out of control? What preventive actions do you think could have made a difference in this case? Share your insights in the comments. Let's ensure Jennifer Harris's story becomes a catalyst for change. Subscribe to True Crime's Venue for more in-depth stories that explore real-life tragedies. And most importantly, let's keep fighting for justice for Jennifer Harris. Until next time, stay aware, stay kind, and stay safe.